What's up guys, how you doing? Welcome to a new video. Today we're going to talk about this new device, the Ulefone Armor 23 Ultra. We will see if it's worth the purchase, we will see the things I liked about it and the things I didn't like about it. If you want to know more, you know what to do. Stay right here on TechGround. Alright, let's do this. Today the Ulefone Armor 23 Ultra, as I mentioned, is a device that I call semi-rugged. I don't know if I coined this term or if it actually exists, but I call these devices semi-rugged because they have the resistance of typical bulky phones, thick phones, without having to pay the price of being so bulky like some devices that we've seen on the channel. Yes, it's true that it's not a slim device at all, but it's not the typical rugged phone that's literally twice as thick as this very device. So then, let's begin with the unboxing. Alright, let's begin this very unboxing. I can't wait to open and try out this new device for myself. We find a box very similar to other devices that we've seen before, with the same colors, yellow and black, characteristic of this brand, giving it a construction site rugged-like look. Here we have the Armor 23 Ultra. This version has 24 gigabytes of RAM, 12 real or physical gigabytes and 12 virtual gigabytes. And I think this is the 512 gigabyte storage version if I'm not mistaken. Here it is, 512 gigabytes of storage, and here are the rest of the features of the device. It also has fast charging up to 112 watts. Alright then, enough. Let's open it up. Here we have the device. It looks really good. It reminds me a lot of the Xiaomi 13 Ultra with this panel over here. It looks light, but it's not. We'll see exactly how much it weighs in a moment. For the devices we're used to testing, it feels light, but compared to a regular device, it's not excessively light. We'll leave it here and see what else we have. Alright, as always, we have the instruction manual, user guide, warranty, etc., as well as a tempered glass protector for the device. Here we also have the 120 watt charger, which is very large, but will allow us to charge the device very quickly, and the characteristic yellow cable of Ulefone. We also have a little bit of a strap over here. Alright, let's remove the plastic wrap. I can't wait, this is the best part of the videos. I love removing the plastic. Let's see if we can get it out of here. There it is. And let's go. We remove the plastic wrap, and as you can see, it always comes with a pre-installed screen protector that came before we received the device. Let's turn it on. The first impressions are that it feels very nice to the touch and looks very good. Now, once we take it out of the box, what catches our attention the most is undoubtedly its color. In this case, we have an orange version where most of the backside comes in this color. There's also a black version if we are looking for a more discreet phone. I think the orange is quite nice, but more risky, and not everyone may like it, as you may know. Besides, the texture feels like a kind of faux leather, obviously plastic, but is simulating leather. Holding it, as I was saying, we find it heavier than a regular device, a typical device like a Samsung Galaxy or an iPhone, for example, but much lighter and slimmer than the typical rugged phone that we have seen previously on this channel. On the backside, the camera module also stands out, reminding me a lot of the Xiaomi 13 Ultra. It's very similar. I figured they wanted to make it with this style in mind, and it stands out in regards to the rest of the device. The button layout is very similar to most devices with these characteristics, with volume buttons on the right side, the power and locking button right below that, which also serves as a fingerprint sensor. And on the left side, there's a slot for microSD and SIM cards, allowing for dual SIM cards. And below that, a customizable button for essentially any function that we'd like to add, such as a flashlight, a screenshot with a double press. I believe I enabled it to record audio with a double press. In other words, any function that we want. At the bottom, there's a USB-C port for charging the device, which is capable of fast charging with up to 120 watts of power and up to 50 watts wireless charging with this device. We'll comment on that in a bit. We can also find the device's main speaker at the bottom. All multimedia audio would come out right through here. At the top, there's something very striking. We find a red SOS button that can be configured for emergencies to call a specific person or alert emergency services. This feature is quite useful for elderly people, for example, for them to have such easy access to this emergency button. Or another example would be if you are going for a walk, hiking up a trail and such, and you need to call for help. Through this button, you can do so in a very simple manner. The device weighs 337 grams, which, as I said, isn't extremely heavy, but it's not light either. It measures 177.44 by 81.5 by 12.7 millimeters. The front has a 6.78-inch screen with a screen-to-body ratio of 75.5%. It isn't a particularly tight number, as the device has relatively wide bezels, but it's still good compared to other rugged phones, which have a lower screen-to-body ratio of 69-70 more or less. These devices have a lower screen-to-body ratio than other devices because the screen corners are much more protected, as you can see, by these rubbery bezels that will ensure that if the device falls, the screen doesn't touch the ground and the screen remains protected from any type of fall damage. The screen is an IPS Full HD panel with a pixel density of 396 pixels per inch, offering good performance and very realistic colors. And as always, we leave you with a video test. After this, we must talk about its audio, and as I said in the beginning, the main speaker for multimedia is at the bottom. It's the only outlet that it has when playing music, which means if you cover it while playing games, listening to music, or watching videos, the sound is going to get blocked, as it wouldn't have another exit port to get out of. It would have been better to have the speaker at the bottom, as well as an additional speaker at the top to avoid this. Despite this, the speaker doesn't sound bad. It isn't particularly powerful, but it has decent sound quality. Now let's talk about the cameras on this device, which I have to say they have pleasantly surprised me, honestly. They can be a rather average feature in this type of devices. These rugged phones, especially Chinese ones, don't usually prioritize cameras as they are not their main feature. However, despite having a 50 megapixel main camera, the results are better than other devices we have tested previously on this channel. This shows us that the fact of having more megapixels like other devices we've seen previously with 120 megapixels, 200 megapixels, won't necessarily mean the photos are better. When it comes to image quality, what matters is the sensor and image processing. This device has two 50 megapixel rear cameras and an 8 megapixel rear camera. One of the 50 megapixel cameras would be the main camera, the other 50 megapixel camera would be the wide angle camera, and the 8 megapixel camera would be the telephoto lens, the one that will allow us to zoom in with this camera. And as you can see from these images, the results are pretty decent. The photos in good lighting conditions are quite decent and sharp, and as I said, I am mostly pleased by them. And now, the frontal camera also has 50 megapixels, and in this case we'd have lower quality photos than the main camera, of course, but it still provides decent selfies, salvageable ones, superior to the ones provided by the competition this device has on the market. Now I'll leave you the videos I've recorded with the frontal camera, both in daytime and nighttime conditions. Front screen video test, Ulefone Armor 23 Ultra, and this is how it looks during the day. Well, it doesn't look bad, but I can tell that the lens is not that wide. I have my arm completely extended, and this is the viewing angle that we obtain. So yeah, this is with daylight. Now let's go to the nighttime video. Alright, it's time for nighttime conditions. This is the Ulefone Armor 23 Ultra, and this is how it looks at night with stabilization and audio. Alright, as you could see, the nighttime footage suffers much more. It has more noise to it, but again, I insist that in regards to its camera, this device is above average for its category. Now let's talk about the internal hardware in this device. In this case, the device is powered by a MediaTek Dimensity 8020, an octa-core processor that honestly performs very well on this device. And for everyday use, as I always say, it will be more than sufficient. This processor will handle everything perfectly. All the apps, multitasking, having multiple apps running, it will do everything smoothly. It has 12 gigabytes of real RAM and and 12 gigabytes of expandable virtual RAM, and it's running on Android 13, which as software feels fluid. It works rather well, and it tends to implement certain applications, the typical ones. For example, using the phone as a spirit level, or another app used to emit different sounds, sirens, car honks, and such. An SOS application that emits flashes of light with the lantern or the screen, different types of warnings, especially different types of apps that these devices usually implement. The fingerprint sensor on the right side works rather well. You can see it on the images on screen, it unlocks fairly quickly, and the device also supports facial recognition, so we will have both options available if we can't use either one. We are using gloves or whatever, we can unlock the phone right with our face. Actually, when I was setting up my facial recognition, it recognized it really quickly. I was recording myself and I was taking off the camera cord in front of me, and before I realized it, I had my face registered very quickly, and the facial unlocking is very reliable as well. The phone also comes integrated with the Bullet application, an app I did not know about, geared towards those people who like to go hiking, go into the mountains or into areas without coverage due to being very remote locations without antennas nearby. This app will allow you to be connected, know where you are, send signals, and track your location in situations where there is no coverage. So for this type of users that get immersed in situations with minimal to zero coverage, this is a rather interesting application. The device's battery is 5,280 milliamps, and as I said before, it supports 120 watts fast charging, something different devices already implement, especially high-end devices, and it charges really fast. But it also comes with an accessory for wireless charging, which will allow us to charge the device with 50 watts, which for wireless charging is truly fast. The battery on this device is rather good as well. It will ensure a full day's use perfectly, without any hiccups. If we use it a lot during the day, it will power down by the end of that day, but that's very tricky to do, so I'd say that potentially with moderate use, we will have 2 days of autonomy without any problems. The device is priced around 400 euros, but as I always tell you, this is more or less set to change, as at the time of recording this very video, this device is still not available in Amazon Spain. It's available on AliExpress, and yeah, the prices can change when it is for sale on Amazon, and you know that later in AliExpress you can always find discounts and such, but more or less the price range will be around 400 euros. So yeah, that would be all for the Ulefone Armor 23 Ultra, a very complete device that I liked quite a lot. I'd love to hear your opinions about it in the comments down below. That would be it. Thank you, and until next time, see ya.